I don't know if my head's been chopped off there. Can't have that, can we? I do hope it's not too bright in my kitchen for you this morning, but oh, it's this afternoon actually. But I'm in Florida. I've got windows everywhere, so it's a really bright, beautiful, breezy, sunny house that I'm in. All right, so what are we doing? Oh yes, that's right. Let me think. We're in Rosemary's kitchen. And I'm going to show you, oh yes, I'm going to show you how to feed the Christmas cake. And wow, it is in front of me at the moment. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Oh, it smells so good. Even without feeding, it is so delicious. It's so good. So, all right, well, let's get started. In this little jug here, I have roughly 2 fluid ounces of brandy. And every week I'm going to put roughly, maybe a little more, roughly that amount of brandy in the Christmas cake. So in order to make sure that your Christmas cake stays nice and firm, let me see, I've forgotten, oh there it is. Okay, can't find things. I'm using a simple cake board. This was an 8-inch cake pan that I used, by the way, for this. And don't forget, all of you who've asked for the recipe, I'm going to be sending it. But make sure when it's cooled, when your cake is cooled, make sure before you start feeding it, yes, before you start feeding it, that you put it on a cake board. I usually put 2 on the bottom because it will, after a while, get a bit soggy and a bit soaked. It's got brandy in it, hasn't it? What to expect? So, all right. So let me, ta-da, the unveiling. Let me show you my cake. Shall I show you the Christmas cake? That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm showing you the Christmas cake, and here we go. There it is. Now, do you remember when I was making the Christmas cake, and I did say to you, sort of make a dent or a hollow in the batter so that when it's cooked, the middle rises up a little bit, but it gets the surface nice and flat. Now, this is the surface, this is the top of the cake. So this is what we're going to be icing at some point in the future. Close to Christmas, of course. But this is what I'm going to do now. I'm hoping you can see it okay. I'm going to put the cake board, yes, white side down like that. There we go. But I'm going to see if I can turn it over. Now, I happen to have a cake board on the bottom as well. So let's see if we can do it without me dropping the cake. It's so heavy, so do be careful. And we're going to swish over like that. There we are. Make it centered on the cake board. And I'm going to when I finish feeding it, let me get that straight. When I'm finished feeding it, I'm going to put this one underneath as well. So it has 2 cake boards, so it's nice and firm on the bottom. Because remember, don't forget, let me talk to you now. Don't forget, I will be sending this. So now here's the bottom bit of it, and you've seen that how flat it is. Don't get expensive brandy. You need some sort of cooking brandy. I just use a cheap bottle of this. Nevertheless, the cheap bottle of this is very good if you put it in a Coke. So I'm actually drinking brandy and Coke. So cheers to me and cheers to you. Do you know that? Do you know that thing? I used to collect all of these little things. The Australians say something like "Cheers, big ears." The British say "Cheers, darlings." But one that I really like is "Here's to you and here's to me," and hope we never disagree. But if we do, the hell with you and here's to me. I like that one a lot. So cheers. Let me have a little drink. Oh, that's so good. Now, let's get on with the business, shall we? You need a skewer. You don't have to have a big long one, but a nice skewer. Excuse me. I'm going to put the camera back on the cake so you can see what I'm doing. So you need a nice skewer. Let me see. Are we off centre with this cake just a little bit? It's hard to know. There we are. I've got my 2 ounces of brandy, 2 fluid ounces of brandy. And this is so simple and easy, but hey, darling, I'm going to feed you now. Right, so I'm going to all the way around the outside, and I'm going to sort of put the skewer up down to the bottom. So I sort of I'd almost do it in sort of like a corkscrew. I start with the outside and I'm working my way into the center. Now, if you remember, we talked about the moistness of this cake. I don't know how clearly you can see, but you can see that the moistness comes off there, and the cake actually has sort of come up. The moistness of this cake and the richness of this cake is unbelievable. And now I know there probably are people out there who say, well, do you brush it? Well, I actually don't, because I always feel that I leave more on the brush than I do in the cake. So I'm going to take a little spoon and I'm going to take the brandy. I'm going to put it into the middle and I'm going to use the back of the spoon like this. And I'm just going to see if I can get the brandy sort of to the edge, but I'm not tipping it. I'm just making sure we don't want to spill any of this. And as I'm doing it, what happens here is that all those little holes that you just made in the brandy, in the cake, sorry. Gosh, let me do this again. All those little holes that I make. It is live, you know. I do muck it up sometimes. All those little holes are sort of the brandy is now going, sort of seeping in. It's got somewhere to go. And let's see. And I think I've gone all the way to the outside. And lovely, lovely. Oh gosh, it smells good already. And but I'm going to, even though I've covered it all, I'm going to keep going with it, because the cake, even though the cake is nice and moist, the fruit of the cake is going to suck up all of this. Everything is going to be sucked up there. And as we go along in the weeks, and we do this once a week, as we go along with the weeks, this fruit that is in this cake, fruit and alcohol, if you put them together, the whole thing starts fermenting a little bit and getting richer and richer, and the fruit gets plumper and plumper, and the fruit absorbs the alcohol. And I think we're nearly done. It's very wet on the top, but I've only got a little bit left. So what am I going to do with that? Oh, I could drink it, but no, I think I'm just going to keep applying it to the cake. But how easy is this and simple is this? You know, when I talk to people about this Christmas cake and I say, oh, it takes 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is to do this, people say, oh, I couldn't go to all of that. That was too much like hard work for me. Does this look like hard work to you, or does it look like fun? And it's a little bit like ganache. I like to make ganache for Christmas, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks or so. So I'll show you how to make the ganache that I make. And I make the ganache. I'm going to tip this slowly over. I don't want it to dribble down the sides, and so far it hasn't. I wanted enough to soak it into the cake. And so ganache, I make the ganache. I make it with dark chocolate, bitter chocolate, because that's what I like and that's what my family likes. And we make it into balls, little round balls. And then, oh gosh, chopped nuts. Let's see, what else? Cherries in the middle. You can put chopped nuts on the outside, roll it in chopped nuts. My grandson likes those 1001s. He loves those. How simple is that? Look, see? Done. There's nothing left in there. And that is called feeding the cake. All right. So doesn't it look good? Even if you didn't ice it, even if you didn't put marzipan on it, even if you just ate it as it was, it's delicious. When my sister had her 70th birthday party, and she came to Florida, and she asked me would I make her a cake, and of course. So I said, well, what kind of a cake would you like? And first of all, she had said to me before, the Christmas before, can you please save me some of your Christmas cake? Well, of course not. I'm not going to save my cake for anybody. But she really wanted the Christmas cake. So what I did was I used this recipe. I made the cake and I covered it in marzipan. And then I iced it, but I smoothed all the icing off, and I did her a beach cake because my sister loves to go on the beach when she's here, and she loves to get what is it? She likes to get shark's teeth. So I made 2 little marzipan ladies, little fat old ladies. I got some little deck chairs. If you go on Amazon, you can pretty much get anything. And these were sort of like little deck chairs for dolls' houses and things. And so I got 2 little deck chairs, made some little fat old ladies out of marzipan and painted them. And I made a big shark's tooth out of cardboard, coloured it black, stuck that in. I painted about, I'm going to say, a third of the cake I painted with blue edible paint and made little white caps on top of the waves. And then on the other side of the cake, I got some edible sand. It sounds weird, I know, but I got edible sand and threw that on. It was an amazing looking cake. In fact, if you have my cookbook, you'll be able to see that cake, and maybe I'll just post a picture of it anyway for you. So what I'm saying to you is this isn't necessarily for Christmas. This is a fruit cake that you can eat anytime, anywhere. Most delicious, really rich, but you can you can decorate it in whatever way you like. I made a Christmas cake last year for Michelle, and I did put a picture of it up on Instagram. And what I did was I put marzipan over, and then I got some big strips of marzipan and painted them, made ribbons, and made the cake. It was almost like a little parcel with a bow on it and everything. And I painted the marzipan, and it was delicious. I did say to her, "Can you keep me a piece?" But like me, by the time I got back from New York, I said, "Where's my cake?" She said, "Oops, we ate it all." So I'm going to leave this to dry now. It's almost dry. It's on the cake board, remember. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you. I've got some really wide strips of parchment paper, which I shall put the cake on. And I've done double layers. I wrap it really nicely, really well in the parchment paper. Then I wrap it with foil. Am I overdoing it? Of course I'm overdoing it, but I'm not going to have anyone saying my Christmas cake is dry. And then once I've wrapped it all and made sure that there's no air getting into it, each week you unwrap it, but it's really easy to do. Once you've wrapped it and you made sure there's no air getting into it, then you need something like this. And where is it? I'm using it, aren't I? Wait a minute. I'm using the tub, and then I put it into one of these, it's just a Tupperware thing, nice and airtight with the lid, and bingo. I'm going to just show you the cake again. You can see, actually, if you really look, I'm not quite sure how well you can see, but you should be able to see that the cake is now dry. It doesn't look wet anymore. Let me give you going the wrong way. Let me give you a close-up of that, going the wrong way. There, look at that. And there you are. And I can see there are lots of you joining me here. I'd love it if you could tell me, are you actually going to make the cake? And if you are, I want to know what it tastes like. I have a friend who a couple of years ago made this cake, and he put twice as much alcohol every week. It must have been like pudding. So you've got to be really careful. There's a fine line between, putting too much alcohol in and not enough. So if you follow the recipe and you follow it nicely and clearly, you too can have a cake like this. And somebody also asked, what would it be like if it was made with non-gluten flour? I think I've only used non-gluten flour one time, and I didn't find it difficult in the recipe that I used. I would love to advise you. The only thing I can say is, have a go and make it. What can you lose? And even if it tastes awful, by the time you soak the brandy in it, nobody's going to know, are they? So there we are. So I've got to have another drink. Oh wait, I forgot. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Oh, yes, I'm drinking. So I got my daddy who's come to stand on my left side here, and Gregor, of course, is always with me on my right side. My father is giving me a piece of advice. You'd think the advice would be about the cake, but actually the advice is I have to drink this now. I have to drink it all and enjoy myself and make sure I wrap it up well. So let me have a drink. Thank you to all of you. I can't see what you're writing to me. I hope what you're writing is nice. As soon as I've finished this video, which is any minute now, I'm going to read all of your comments. But thank you for joining me in Rosemary's Kitchen. If you go to YouTube, you need to look for Rosemary Altea's Kitchen. There's only a few recipes on there at the moment. Risotto, which is to die for. And what else is there on? There's lots of other things on there, and there'll be more and more as we go along, because now I know how to do this. Wow, there's no stopping me, is there? I'm just going to keep restreaming and restreaming and restreaming. Oh, you don't have to watch, you know, you can always switch me off. But thank you for joining me. I will read your comments. Thank you for your wonderful love and support. You say such nice things to me. So please make the cake. If you do make the cake, or if you want the recipe for the cake, we're going to put the recipe for the cake up on Facebook, I think. And so, you know, and if you get stuck, just email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. We will not be talking about the cake when we do our first webinar, unless it comes up or unless somebody mentions it, and then we just might. If only I could show you, if only I could cut it and show you what it looks like inside, and then of course I could eat it and you could watch me eating it. But that's for Christmas, isn't it? Which is only around the corner. Do you know that it's only, what is it, 11 weeks now to Christmas? So I wish you all a Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. And I'm singing for my darling boy, Reese. I'm teaching him to play We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I'm teaching him to play, what is it? Oh, Christmas tree. And but of course, my favourite carol of all times is, can you believe we're talking about Christmas? My favourite carol of all times is Oh, Come All Ye Faithful, which... the day after Christmas, when we have our party, I might just sing it all for you. You never know. You really never know. So please enjoy. Please feel, you know, feel emboldened, feel inspired to go into the kitchen and make your own creation. This creation that I have, yes, I got my recipes from Mrs. Beaton, but yes, I've added to, I've taken away, I've added to, I've made it mine. And that's what you all should do. So if I send you the recipe, if you ask for the recipe and I send it, don't be afraid to tweak it. Don't be afraid to put your own stamp on anything that's in the kitchen, and just be inspired and know that your loved ones in the spirit world, they always come into the kitchen with me. Why wouldn't they come into the kitchen with you? You have to ask them. They'll be there for you. In the meantime, thank you to my daddy for joining me. Of course, thank you for Great Eagle, who does inspire all of this in me. And thank you, all of you who have taken the time to watch this. Please, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and have a wonderful and a blessed weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. Now I've got to turn it off, haven't I?